moves to scrap controversial standing charges on some energy bills. Ofgem announces plans that would force suppliers to offer tariffs without those fixed charges. I'll explain how it could work and why some people are concerned.
Standing charges, the fees applied daily regardless of how much power a customer uses, could be scrapped under some new tariffs being proposed by the energy regulator. Ofgem says it wants the tariffs, which could allow customers to pay the fees as part of their unit rate instead, to be available by next winter. Our correspondent Zoe Conway has this report.
Take this one here and this.
At St Luke's Community Centre in London, a knitting class offers company and warmth. These women are concerned about their energy bills and say standing charges are unfair.
That charge is a flat charge. I'm paying around about £91 a month, yet in the summer I'm still paying £91. So I'm using less electricity but still being paying the same amount of money.
So many people just turn off their heating and they're cold and that sort of thing, but the standing charge is still there. So I don't think it's right.
Standing charges are flat daily fees that are added to bills regardless of how much energy is used. And they're controversial because even if a customer tries really hard to minimise their energy use, they'll still get hit with this fee. Ofgem says it wants suppliers to offer customers the option of having the standing charge included in the price of each unit of energy they use. That should mean lower bills for people who don't use much gas or electricity. But people who use lots of energy could keep paying the charge separately. Last month, Ofgem told BBC Breakfast about their plans.
What we're saying is we should give a choice. If you want a low standing charge, you'll have a slightly higher unit rate, and that suits some people. But if you are happy to accept a higher standing charge, so you are in that large family, then maybe that's the best rate for you.
You go in there, you £9 for a day.
Stephen Lawrenson in Preston needs to stay warm. He's in remission from cancer. He's hoping for some help to keep his bills down.
I need to keep warm. I get white finger if I don't have heating on, but then again, too much heating affects my lungs.
Ofgem has launched a consultation and says it wants suppliers to offer this new system of charging by the end of the year. Zoe Conway, BBC News.
So we know now that a consultation into how standing charges can be removed from energy tariffs starts today. And Ben, this is one of those stories, whenever we talk about it, we get so much response, don't we? About whether it's fair, whether it's right, whether it's dealt with properly.
Yes, and when Ofgem, the regulator, started looking into this, it received a bigger number of responses than it's ever had to any other consultation. 30,000 people got in touch. So it's been talked about for a long time, but now we're starting to see, well, some really serious movement on it all. Yes, a lot of talk about scrapping those fixed charges you pay before you've even started using any energy. Let me explain exactly what's going on. The energy regulator, Ofgem, is looking at how to remove those standing charges from bills in England, Scotland and Wales, and it has now launched a formal consultation. Standing charges are fixed daily fees on your bill that you pay no matter how much energy you use. They cover the supplier's costs of connecting your home to the gas and electricity network. A typical household in Britain on a single rate tariff currently pays 31.65 pence a day for gas and just under 61 pence a day for electricity, adding £340 to energy bills each year. This varies depending on where you live, so some people will be paying even more than that. But in most areas, the charge has risen sharply in the past few years. Now the regulator is saying suppliers should be forced to offer tariffs with lower or no standing charges at all by next winter, although that doesn't mean those charges will be gone for good. It's considering 3 different ways of covering those connection costs. One option is to increase the unit price of every unit of energy you use. A second option is what they describe as falling block tariffs, with a higher unit rate until you've used a certain amount of energy, then the unit rate drops. And finally, rising block tariffs, which have lower unit rates at first that go up after using a certain amount of energy. Ofgem has warned that replacing standing charges with higher unit prices could harm vulnerable customers. Bills could rise sharply for those who use a lot of energy, often for health and medical needs. Some charities think that Ofgem's suggested options don't go far enough to protect customers.
What we also need is protections for people with special needs. So if you have, for example, a medical need for higher energy usage, you should be getting a special allowance for that medical usage, which some people currently get and some people don't get, which is obviously unfair. So these are the kind of unfairnesses in the energy system that Ofgem should be acting on.
The Trade Association for Energy Firms also doesn't seem convinced. It says the money to tackle customer debt and invest in cleaner British energy has to come from somewhere.
Right now, we're at record levels of debt where £3.9 billion is owed to energy suppliers. So, I think we've got huge concerns here about affordability, and I don't think the standing charges proposal and the new price cap is the way to tackle those big concerns.
Ofgem's consultation is open for a month and it wants to hear from charities, consumer groups and energy suppliers before sharing a final plan on how these new tariffs without standing charges will be introduced. Let's talk now to Alex Belsham-Harris, the head of energy policy for Citizens Advice. Alex, good to see you. What do you make of this set of proposals from Ofgem?
Yeah, good morning. I mean, we know that standing charges and energy bills more generally are a really big challenge for people. People are really concerned about what they're paying. But we're worried these proposals are quite complicated for people. And Ofgem is very clear it's not intending for these proposals to save anyone any money. It's just about moving the costs between one part of their bill to another. So we really think Ofgem's time and energy would be better spent elsewhere, finding ways to really reduce the cost of energy for consumers. We want to see better targeted bill support so that people who are really struggling most with their price of energy can be protected. And also we think that there's money to do that. We've identified some excess profits that have been made by the network companies that provide the pipes and wires for our system. They've been making billions of pounds in extra money because of inflation that's been higher than expected in recent years. We think there's a good source of money there that those firms can put their hand in their pocket and help customers. OK, so from what you've said, it sounds like anyone watching at home thinking, oh, my bill might drop as a result of this for gas and electricity. What you seem to be saying is that these changes won't result in lower bills. That's what Ofgem is saying. It's not intending for people to save money from these proposals. It just will mean that rather than having fixed costs that make up a certain proportion of your bill, more of your costs will be coming from those unit rates instead. But there are some risks that people could end up making the wrong choice and face higher costs. So if someone with higher energy usage, they might choose one of these low standing charge tariffs thinking that it will save them money and actually face a higher cost. And actually, there's some risks that some people could find loopholes and avoid paying a fair share. So if you have two homes, some people are lucky enough to have two homes, you could move on to one of these tariffs and actually avoid paying the full cost in both of those homes compared to what we would be doing today. So there are also some risks which Ofgem has said it's looking at, but that adds to the real complexity around these proposals.
Sorry, so what you're suggesting is that this could actually help people who are better off rather than those who are the poorest and the most vulnerable?
Yeah, absolutely. There's also people who are able to afford things like solar panels and batteries on their houses. Again, really great for the environment. But if you're able to really bring your energy usage down to very low levels through those sorts of technologies, again, you could avoid paying some of the fair costs of maintaining the energy system that we all need to pay.
OK, in which case, if you're not that keen on any of the proposals set out by Ofgem, what do you think would be a better way to do it that would help those who are struggling?
So we're helping record numbers of people at Citizens Advice with energy issues and, as was mentioned, huge amounts of energy debt in the system. We think there's real scope to do more to target support at people who need it most, so providing bill discounts for people who are on lowest incomes and have highest energy needs. And as I say, there's money available, we think, in the system from these excess profits that network firms have been making. Ofgem's also looking at some other solutions around debt relief, so helping people directly who've built up debt during the energy crisis, and that could be really positive as well.
OK, Alex, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Alex Belsham-Harris, the head of energy policy from the charity Citizens Advice. Needless to say, Maggie and Charlie, this is one we are going to follow because it affects households right across Britain, and it's something people feel incredibly strongly about.